Good God.
What the fuck?
Where do you even start with a movie like this?
That's a very good question. Basic plot outline?
Dude, it's not even relevant.
I know. Just revenge. Man,
Yeah.
man gets revenge.
The plot is so simple that it's not even like worth talking about. Basically, there's a couple that lives in the Pacific Northwest. I'm not sure if you ever get a clear description of exactly. They're either in Washington or Oregon.
Even Northern California, but yeah, around there.
Somewhere up in there. It's sort of foggy, heavily wooded
Forest, dense forest.
forest area. The movie opens with a drone shot of trees. That's the kind of place they are. They have a little cabin.
Sick fucking cabin.
Clearly homemade.
Yeah.
It's like the walls are all windows, but like all different shapes. Like sort of like hodgepodge put together. Like we made this cabin out of scraps.
But still
type of
super
thing.
charming.
Very cozy, charming.
Yeah.
It's like a tiny home almost that you would want to live in. But yeah, we've just got a man and a woman, Red and Mandy. He's a logger. She works at a convenience store. And they're just like kind of quiet and weird people that
Keep to themselves.
they just are in love and live in a cabin. They talk about space. She reads weird horror novels. And
And it all derails. Then a Manson-esque cult comes in and kidnaps Mandy and doses her to all high noon with a whole bunch of drugs. And
yeah.
All
hell breaks loose. I don't even want to get into it yet.
I know.
Because I feel like there's just so many bigger things to talk about when it comes to this movie.
Yeah, let's put it off. Anyways, we're talking about Mandy.
You're listening to Booty Whiskey.
Booty Whiskey.
My name is 12 Clouds. I am a failed musician who is currently building a psychedelic drug cult. Who wants to be a part?
Me. I'm his co-host, and I'm the chemist for that psychedelic drug cult. I make the gray shit.
The gray shit that we put in mason jars and distribute to demons.
Sweet, dude.
Oh yeah, with the like weird poisonous wasp that they call the cherry on top.
Yeah,
they sting you in the neck with the wasp after dosing you in your eye with the acid.
I got my mason jar right in the back. We can go get it right now. Let's take this episode.
I call this the little cherry on top.
I'm the most sensual lover.
Cherry on top. Yeah, I won't do that anymore. I had to do it once.
I get it. I don't blame you at all.
This movie is gorgeous.
Gorgeous. One of a kind.
I've never seen a movie like it visually.
Dude.
It stands alone.
Yeah.
The colors are unreal. Like the lighting is unreal.
I don't even know how they did it. I can't come to even picture if that was all in post or if they were using genuine lights out there a lot.
I think there's a lot of practical lighting.
Yeah.
Like in those scenes, for example, where like it's dark forest, almost all of this movie is filmed at night.
Yeah.
For the audience, you should know this is all dark. But trees, the camera's panning through the darkness, and then you see like glowing red in the distance. Like that's someone over there with a red light.
Yeah.
And then the music kicks in. Boom, and then the camera zooms in and the light gets brighter and you see the silhouettes of those three guys. It's so gnarly.
It really is. This movie is metal. It's metal as fuck.
Yeah, in the classical sense of the word. Like heavy metal, 80s, late 70s.
Yeah.
Where progressive rock, like King Crimson, is transforming into darker heavy metal like Black Sabbath. You're getting satanic imagery. You're getting cult type of imagery.
Everything shot in fucking red. Anytime there's like serious emotions that are about to go down, it's just like intense red light, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
The colors in this movie are insane. There's lots of like lens flaring and lighting effects, depth stuff with the lens choice. He's using a lot of like shallow lenses for the film nerds out there. and then like putting lights in front of your focal plane to create like these soft, hazy edges around the frame.
Damn.
Really cool technique stuff going on with like practical lighting and lens choice. And then just also doing stuff in post, certainly.
Of course.
Manipulating those colors, shifting the hues.
Oh, definitely. Some of those, like, those wide shots we have over, like, the forest and landscape with the clouds and the sky.
Yeah.
Everything is so radiant and just, like, popping in every direction. It's wild.
It's really going to be hard to talk about this movie to someone who doesn't have experience with psychedelic drugs, to be honest.
That's very true. It really, the filters that you see, like on acid or mushrooms, of just your general light and perspective match this movie in a lot of different ways.
You know what sort of reminded me of the same thing? And I actually saw these two movies in the same 1 month period for me. The movie Annihilation.
Dude, yeah.
When they go into the sphere.
When they go into area
and
X
everything
or whatever,
gets shimmery and like the colors are changing and stuff.
You just have that like classically like shiny, like purple and orange and green shimmer that kind of revolves with every light and shines with it. No, I totally.
It's like an iridescent snake skin.
Yeah, absolutely. Pearlescence.
Yeah, you move at different angles and it shifts.
Yeah.
That's what this movie feels like when you're watching it.
Definitely.
Like, we watched this movie stone cold sober.
Yeah,
and a
bottle of wine.
Yeah, a little red wine.
A little red wine.
Little caps off.
Little caps off.
But it makes you feel like you're tripping out, dude.
Very much so.
And it really does a cool job of like representing the psychedelic experience through just like feeling. The plot, the horror stuff.
Throw that aside.
Throw that aside. Just like the feeling of what you're looking at and hearing.
And the oddness of the characters and their movements and like their facial expressions. Like Mandy, especially.
Yeah.
When she walks through the woods and stuff, like she looks like she is frying hard.
10 tabs.
Yeah, hard.
Hard. Gone. Her eyes are just always fully dilated and just black.
Yeah.
She's got some creepy eyes.
Dude, yes, she does, dude. Some creepy fucking eyes.
Perfectly cast.
Yes.
For this movie.
I would say this entire movie was perfectly cast.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would change. The goons were goony and so uncomfortable and just not
just
good.
like dripping wet and covered in black leather and like whispering and like
no, those goons were even worse. Yeah, I'm talking about like just
the van goons. Yeah.
The manipulated ones.
So maybe this is a good time to get back to the plot where we left off. So there's like this Manson family-esque like psychedelic cult that drives around in a van.
Yeah.
And they're driving down the road and they spot Mandy who's walking home from work. And or maybe she's walking to work. I don't remember.
Nonetheless.
Doesn't matter. She makes eye contact with the leader of this cult, Jeremiah.
Yeah, what a piece of shit, dude.
Such an egomaniacal bitch.
Yeah.
Ego is a big theme in this movie, and we'll keep touching on it. Mm-hmm. But it's very present in this cult leader who believes he's God.
Yeah.
We'll start there.
For sure.
And once he sees her, he decides that he needs her now.
Yeah.
And he tells his goons.
A really unpleasant way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like just immediately implying, like, I'm just going to take her for, just for sex or whatever. Like,
she's mine. Like, because I saw her and decided I want her, she's already mine.
My property.
Like, that's how his brain works. Like,
yeah.
Whatever he wants. And he says this when he's explaining his, like, cult beliefs later on. He says he, like, talked to God and God told him, "You're right, Jeremiah, and everyone else is wrong.
But you're right.
And you are everything. Therefore, everything is already yours. It's not a matter of going and claiming it. It's already yours. Just go out in the world and do what you want."
So sick and disturbing. Dude.
Yeah.
Like, just the clear... Oh, that was a good performance, man. Yeah. I thought that guy was ill. Like, seriously.
He's fucked up in the head.
Just so maniacal and, oh, God. Good shit, though. But, yeah, no, he fucking...
He sees Mandy.
They go.
He tells his little goon squad
to get the horn.
Yeah, he's got all these like weird cult members like wrapped around his little finger. They all do everything he says. He is God inside of that van.
Yeah. Fully manipulated, full mind control through LSD.
Yeah. And his right-hand man, the like other sort of like what you might consider like the powerful male of the group.
I guess so.
You know,
but yeah,
other
as
than
far
Jeremiah.
as it goes, yeah.
These are all like weird, slimy looking guys.
Yeah, they're all
none of them
skinny.
look like really like alpha or powerful.
No.
But within the context of this weird psychedelic van group, this right-hand man might be what you would consider like the muscle, I guess.
He's number 2 gun. You know?
Yeah, so he gets this guy to go get Mandy. He's like, consider it done, Jeremiah. And the way he does that is truly absurd.
Yeah. He grabs what's it called?
The Horn of Abraxos.
Yeah, so he pulls out this what looks like a lava rock or
Yeah,
some
it's
shit,
just like
right?
a black stone, like a porous stone.
Yeah.
And then there's like a green light flickering, like demon's light as he pulls it out.
Yeah, intense music and it's
The Horn of Abraxos. Everybody like regards it with such reverence.
I know. From the abyssal layer.
No, that was the
I know.
the abyssal layer. Yeah. This is where they really start amping up the sort of like Dungeons and Dragons heavy metal imagery from like the Black Sabbath era of rock and roll, where like everything is mythological, demonic, magical,
Satanic.
Yeah. It's like, this was my guitar forged in the underlayers of Satan's lair. Like, okay, we don't have to mythologize everything, but it's really like that. It feels like he's pulled out some sort of object from Dungeons and Dragons, like a cursed flute or something.
Something that's to be praised and worshipped and feared.
Yeah. He steps out of the van, looks into the darkness. He's parked like within eyesight, like eye line of their cabin. He can like see the cabin.
Yeah.
And he starts blowing on this horn.
Just like that.
It really is more of a whistle than a horn.
Yeah, it really is.
It's like a flute note.
Yeah. I think it's an ocarina.
Yeah.
I think it's a volcanic rock ocarina.
It's certainly not a horn.
Yeah, no.
Like, doesn't sound like a brass instrument at all.
It's called Abraxas too.
The Horn of Abraxos. He blows this thing and he's like, now we wait. And a little bit of time goes by and 3 like demonic looking biker gang members,
Leather Chad, just fucking
spiked shoulders, helmets, masks.
creepy masks. They sound all gargly.
They've got fucked up voices. Like they sound like demons. Like, blood for blood.
Well,
You must give us a sacrifice.
been drinking a lot of acid.
Yeah, so they they meet up with these 3 guys in the woods who are clearly just deranged bikers.
Yeah.
He hands him a mason jar of a liquid, which we presume to be some sort of foul cocktail of acid from their chemist.
Yeah.
And like later it is sort of confirmed that these 3 bikers used to be quote unquote normal, just like gang members who are like terrorized,
LSD couriers
doing crimes in the Pacific Northwest. And they ran afoul of the chemist somehow, and he dosed them with some super fucked up shit that he made specifically to ruin their minds.
And then it did.
And it did. And now they ride around and they answer the calls of the Horn of Abraxos.
Yeah.
They meet with these weird cult guys in the woods. They receive a mason jar of acid, chug it
immediately. A mason jar.
Downs it.
We have to talk about the realities of how much acid is consumed at some point. We can do that later.
What was portrayed in this movie was unreal levels of drug usage.
Like 20,000 hits of acid.
Like insane.
I imagine. Or something like that.
Like there's a point where a woman, one of the cult members, she drops a drop of acid in Mandy's eye with a dropper.
Yeah.
And then she licks the dropper.
Licks the dropper clean.
So she gave 1 drop to Mandy, probably took like 10 to 20 herself, just licking the dropper clean.
Yeah.
And she's just going about her business.
And to the eye, that's just like, there's no processing. You will get high.
It's straight in.
Yeah, it's right. It's just straight to your brain.
Cerebral cortex, upload. New reality.
Activating
confirmed.
new reality.
You are gone.
Depersonalization confirmed.
Fabric ripped. The drug use is insane.
It is.
The level of it is just otherworldly.
It's unlike anything I've ever seen.
Yeah, no movie has ever come close to Mandy in so many ways.
No, yeah. Directing choices, everything. I mean,
yeah,
just
the visuals.
Creepy murder.
Casting Nicolas Cage as a distressed revenge murderer.
Yeah, but yeah, as the plot continues, fucking that woman, Mandy, she gets taken by them. They dose her up good.
They break into the house and take both of them. They kidnap both of them.
I thought they just they just tied him up in his house.
Yeah, they're in the house for that whole scene.
Oh.
They're doing all of that in their home.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They break in.
Jesus Christ.
It shows them asleep in their bed, and then they the lighting is all dark and horrifying, and these demons are hovering over them in their bed.
Electricity's crackling around them.
Yeah, they wake them up. They separate them. They tie up Red, played by Nick Cage,
with barbed wire.
With barbed wire, they tie him up, and they also stab him with that's where they bring out that magical blade. What is it called?
Blade of the Pale Night. The tainted blade of the Pale Night.
From the underlayer of the abyss, the abyssal layer.
Straight from the abyssal layer, not worthy of you pigs.
Yeah, you soulless animals.
Soulless animals.
They stab him with this warlock's blade and leave him in the other room. And then everybody goes in with Mandy in the living room. And she's sitting there, and she's been forcibly dosed at this point with acid and some sort of exotic wasp.
Soaked
that they
in acid.
Sting her with. Yeah, and the wasp was in a vial of acid. They pull it out. It's dripping in acid.
A jar of acid. Even.
They force it to sting her in the neck, and she's like, "It's the cherry on top."
Creepy old bitch. Everyone who listens, you're all gonna hate this creepy old bitch.
She's the worst. She's old, ugly, sexual,
trying to be a seductress.
Yeah, she's clearly she used to be Jeremiah's sexual partner. She aged out because now he has this younger girl, Lucy. And so he just has this old lady clinger. Used to be sexy, now she's not.
Just annoying them.
Just there to be the secretary of the group, basically. They dose Mandy up, and then he starts talking to her, and he's trying to seduce her. Through the power of drugs, he's trying to reprogram her into seeing him as God.
Yeah, manipulate her into it.
He's playing his own record, which is a sort of a callback to Charles Manson.
I wish it was
Marilyn Manson did make records. No, but
way better music.
To Charles Manson, the cult leader, who was a failed musician and it was known to record his own music, mythologizing himself. So that's what he's doing here. He's playing his shitty folk records. It's folk rock from the 60s.
It's an ode to himself.
It's just Jeremiah was a man who had understood God.
You and me.
In the garden. It's just so bad. It's the corniest folk music, and it's all about how he is God and you have to listen to him.
Absolutely.
And he says a bunch of dumb shit about how he's going to make her belong to him. Then he takes his robe off and he's naked under there and he's a tiny little dick.
Yeah.
He's touching himself.
And she asked, did you make this music? Yeah, I did.
And it's about yourself? He's yes, it is. As he's touching his naked body. And she just starts laughing at him.
Cackling, maniacally.
Mocking his ego.
Yeah.
Is ultimately what it is.
Yeah, just so harshly.
She's just
crazy.
pointing at him and laughing.
Yeah.
And you see him break.
Oh, the deflation of everything that is him, man.
He thought that he was going to seduce this woman, add one to his harem, bring her in the cult, kill Red, and, you know, it's all hunky-dory. She deflates his little ego bubble so hard by laughing at him and making fun of his music and his tiny dick and pointing and cackling, and he can't handle it.
Yeah.
So he goes to the only other option available, which is just murder.
After, like, yelling at all of his, like, group members, like, don't look at me.
Yeah, don't look
at me. Yeah.
Avert your eyes.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, they are averting their eyes, but you can see they're kind of smirking and laughing along too. And his whole like illusion is shattering in this moment a bit.
Yeah. Super uncomfortable, man.
Yeah. It's the first concrete example in the movie of the main theme, which really is the male ego. We'll play an interview. Let's play it a little later, but the director has some good comments about how he views like the male ego and how it's represented in the movie. It's definitely omnipresent in these characters. Sure. The desire to dominate and subjugate and like
manipulate.
Yeah. And get whatever you want at all costs, no matter the consequences.
Yeah. Oh God. This is such a crazy movie, man. Like
This is where the story pivots.
Yep.
They burn Mandy alive in front of her man, Red.
Yeah.
After stabbing him.
Yeah.
And they taunt him. They say, what does he say? The darker the horror, the brighter the flame.
Yeah, man. This whole sequence, like, I mean, obviously this is both our third watch now, right?
Yeah.
That first time I watched it, that was pretty jarring. I did not expect Mandy to die. I mean, after especially all this crazy weirdness, like that was quite enough. It's affected
hardcore,
me.
Man.
Yeah, it's
really dark and it's really hardcore.
Yeah, the pain you can see in Nick's eyes, his eyes.
The acting is incredible.
Insane.
Incredible.
Yeah, I don't know what I could compare this to in our previous films.
Honestly, dude, like the closest I could come to was Leaving Las Vegas.
I agree.
In terms of power of performance.
Raw emotion.
Yeah, accuracy to the feeling that the character would be feeling.
And this was even heavier in a different way. It was watching him watch her burn made me feel like it was real.
Yeah, he's crying.
Yes.
Like
screaming.
Agonizing. He's like silent though.
Yeah.
Like his mouth is agape and he's crying, but he like can't even believe. It's like he can't even process it yet.
Yes.
And then the next scene when the cult leaves him to die there. They don't actually kill him. They assume he's as good as dead, that he's tied up, stabbed.
Yeah.
And they want him to suffer. I think it's not negligence. They want him to sit up there and like repent.
Yeah, the whole time. They want him to slowly die.
Yeah, that's the point. The pain is the point. So they leave him there to die, but he wriggles out and he doesn't die, and he finds himself in his bathroom, and it is such a cathartic, crazy scene. It's such a good performance from Nick Cage.
Insane. Harrowing and just like unhinged, man.
He's in his underwear. He's bloody. He's wearing a tiger t-shirt. And he goes and gets a bottle of vodka. He's like chugging it, crying, pouring it on his wounds, screaming, sitting down, standing up, raging, crying, chugging vodka
weeping,
more.
Holding his neck while he's gulping it so he can actually do it. And then the moment he goes away,
it's too painful.
Oh.
Then he's weeping, and then he's just like huffing like a wild dog.
Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, it's like all that emotion and chaos is like a tornado that settles into just rage,
revenge,
revenge, and just like contemplated rage.
Yeah,
because it becomes calculated. It goes from chaotic to calculated in that moment.
He has the moment of emotional catharsis.
Yeah,
he feels everything that he needed to feel, and he decides that now that the life he had is gone, his new life is purely based on killing these people.
Yep, that is all he's gonna do.
And it just becomes the classic Kill Bill revenge story. Mm-hmm. Here's a list of people that wronged me. all of them die in succession.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's it.
He goes over to like some sort of weird neighbor's trailer, like not close neighbor, like it's in the woods, like maybe far away, but a couple miles, I guess.
I would say so. In his general neighborhood / county.
In the forest somewhere. There is a small trailer. And I forget the actor's name, but he is the black actor from Predator.
Cool.
Well, there's more than one actually in that movie. That's not Carl Weathers.
Elimination. There we go.
He's the other one, and I can't remember the guy's name, but I thought it was kind of a nice callback to the 80s because like so much of this movie is about 80s nostalgia and what it was probably like for Panos Cosmatanos
I'm sure.
to grow up in the 80s.
Yeah.
And looking at him, he probably did play a lot of Dungeons and Dragons and listen to a lot of metal.
For sure. He turned 20 in like 1990.
Yeah?
Yeah. He was born in like 71, I think.
Okay. Yeah. So this is a nostalgic movie for him in terms of all the imagery and the symbolism and stuff.
Metal, all of it. Yeah.
So casting that guy, I thought was a great callback to one of the biggest movies of the 80s.
Totally.
But he's the neighbor, and he's sort of like plays the role of the archetype of like the wise man.
The wise old elder.
He's the one on the quest who sets our hero in the right direction, gives him the knowledge he needs for success.
Gives us a ton of backstory.
Yeah. He goes over there, and Nick Cage is like explaining what happened, crying. They burned her. He's like, I came for the Reaper.
He calls his crossbow the Reaper.
Yeah. He's got an epic crossbow in mint condition with a scope on it called the Reaper. This guy's been holding it for him.
Yeah, what is that? That was one question I always had. What the fuck did he used to do?
Right, exactly.
He must have been some sort of like.
Were they in Vietnam together? That was my takeaway.
That checks out.
It takes place in 1983, so these guys being in their early 50s, late 40s maybe, as a rough estimate, would have been in the Vietnam War.
For sure.
Realistically.
Yeah.
And he's even wearing like fatigues.
They were probably in them together.
Yeah, so I took it as like he's an old Vietnam vet friend who's been holding on to his cachet.
Fucking sweet, dude.
Yeah. Classic.
But he knowledges him up, wisens him up.
Tells him about this biker
the
gang.
Black Skulls.
Gives him all the lore on how they got betrayed by the chemist. But he also sends him in the direction. He's like, this is where they were last sighted.
But also tells him you're probably gonna die.
He's like, don't be negative. Very funny little moment. Not many funny moments in this movie, but there's a few that are just like awesome.
Yeah. The dick.
Yeah.
The knife dick, I mean.
The knife dick and the tiny dick. The laughing.
Both dicks are pretty good.
We get a pretty sweet little montage of him forging his own battle axe.
So fucking sweet.
He's like firing up a forge. There's fire going everywhere. Metal music playing.
You don't even see that he has like a shop or anything like that up until this point. He's just suddenly in a shop with like a bucket and a fucking red hot full of metal, and he's pouring it in his cast.
He's just hammering shit. He's wearing aviator sunglasses and a baseball t-shirt, hammering this axe, creating a legendary weapon.
Yeah, and it's fucking sweet too.
It's badass.
Yeah.
It's got like a stabby spear handle. And then like a double-edged, or it's got one big like slashing edge and then like a hook edge.
Yeah.
He uses all of those edges by the end of the movie.
Yeah, no, they're it's perfect for killing all those stupid leather baddies.
Those idiots.
Oh, God.
Soulless meat.
Soulless meat. God.
The rest of the movie is essentially a slaughter.
Yeah.
It's a psychedelic horror slaughter.
Yeah.
Of almost like set up like a video game.
Just one by one.
He's just going level by level, finding each cult member and just destroying them. And there's a lot of like fun moments in there.
He lets Lucy go though.
Yes, the young lady who was being used for sex by Jeremiah is not murdered.
I think.
The chemist. He does not kill the chemist.
He doesn't show the chemist dying. To me, it kind of implied that he killed him, but I don't know.
It's possible, but I didn't get the sense that the chemist was even his enemy. The chemist came across as sort of a neutral party.
Yeah. Why'd they do that to you?
Yeah, he's sympathetic.
Yeah.
He is the guy making their acid, but he's not like...
He might not even be doing that voluntarily. Yeah.
It's hard to tell, like, the power dynamic, like who's in charge of who. The chemist clearly does have a lot of power because he's supplying them.
Yeah. I mean,
he's like the only... So he has a lot of leverage, so he can't be touched, I think. He's got a tiger in a cage.
Lizzie.
Called Lizzie.
Yeah. Apparently it was supposed to be a giant lizard first.
Yeah, and they showed up to shoot, and the director was like, oh yeah, Lizzie's a tiger now. Let's roll with it. I'm like, okay.
Sweet.
The chemist presses a button and releases the tiger from its cage, and that tiger just like leaves and is shown to be just like roaring on a cliffside somewhere.
Yeah.
So there's canonically a tiger somewhere in the Pacific Northwest in the Mandy universe.
I think it was also a symbolism for Nick about to go release his beast.
The rage.
Yeah, finally be free of it too.
Yeah, because that's a classic berserker animal.
For sure.
Spirit of rage.
Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah, dude, some of those fights are pretty badass too.
Sweet. Like, never too long either for the most part. It's all pretty tasteful action. You know?
It's like a minute to 4 minutes.
Oh yeah, at the very most
scenes.
For sure.
Yeah.
Even the big bad boy, which we should talk about right motherfucking now.
Yeah, the chainsaw fight.
Scene.
Chainsaw fight. Chainsaw. It's a chainsaw fight.
It is, and the one guy, Nick Cage, he has a chainsaw.
Okay, so let's set the stage first of all.
Yeah.
Nick Cage has come upon one of the final cultists that's like needs to die.
Yeah.
Before Jeremiah.
Yeah, real goon looking motherfucker.
They're in essentially like a gravel pit with a bunch of like flaming barrels and cars. It's a sort of like junkyard vibe, I guess.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Just like concrete and machinery.
Yep.
Just a classic desolate area.
If it was light out, it could have been like a face-off dock area. You know, there's kind of been a fire going on.
Let's not bring face off into this.
I'm sorry. I'll do my best.
John Woo could never do what Panos Cosmatanos can do.
Yeah, tell that to him, man. He's trying.
So he's got his axe, and he just finished killing one cult member with the axe successfully. Yeah. But he gets here, and there's a chainsaw on the ground. So he drops his axe for the chainsaw because he's like in a rage. He's like, this is going to be more badass. He's struggling to get it to start. He's like pulling the cord.
Yeah. He revs it a couple times before it works.
And this alerts the cult member who hadn't noticed him yet. He sees him, turns to him, sees he's holding a chainsaw, and he's like, uh-oh. But guess what? He's got his own chainsaw.
And guess what?
It's 4 times longer than your average chainsaw.
He pulls it out.
He starts dragging this thing from out behind a barrel, and it just keeps going. It's like you think it's going to come out, and it just keeps going. He's taking a step back, like still dragging it out.
It's probably like a 7-foot chainsaw.
Yeah, I was going to say at least 6 feet. It's like the length of a human body.
It's for old growth forests. It's like
which comes into
giant ones.
Yeah.
You know?
It's for cutting down an entire redwood tree.
Yeah.
Solo.
Yeah. That happens, man. You don't ever know.
So they have a chainsaw duel.
Yeah. It's fucking sweet.
The cultist is able to rev his right up. Mm-hmm. Starts swinging.
It's got more length, you know.
Yeah.
Works better.
Cage blocks, parries. Finally gets his revved up.
Cage parries.
Strikes him, slashes, draws blood. He draws first blood.
Yeah.
Critically.
Yeah. It was a huge move, too. Otherwise, he might not have survived.
Yeah. But it turns out the shorter chainsaw is more nimble, and he uses his agility to win the fight.
It's pretty awesome. and then gets the cherry on top. His cherry on top.
Oh God, the way this guy dies is so over the top.
The giant, the 6-foot chainsaw is laying on the ground, and like what? Cage
It's still on.
Yeah, running, spinning.
Yeah.
Cage uses the guy's momentum as he charges him to like fling him onto it, and he lands on it face first, and just saws him in half from his own weight going onto it.
Yeah, he lands
so much blood.
Well, okay, Nick Cage finds a giant chain.
Oh,
Like an iron chain. He throws it and gets it around this guy's neck.
how dare I forget the cowboy shit, dude?
Yeah, he goes full Ghost Rider. Chain whips this guy onto his own chainsaw. And then, the guy just gets cut in half vertically
Yeah,
by a chainsaw.
yeah. He deserves it.
He's just laying on the active blade. And it's just like you just see blood coming out.
So much. This movie has a lot of blood.
Yeah.
Kaylin was uncomfortable.
She did not like a lot of this movie.
Yeah.
She's not going to watch it again.
No, I felt bad.
There's a scene where Nick Cage stabs a cultist who is like over him, like domineering over him, about to like kill him, and Nick Cage is sitting below and stabs up, and the guy starts shooting blood out of his wound into Nick Cage's face
And his mouth. Oh,
into his mouth.
like a lot. And Nick's just laughing.
He's smiling manically. Dude, it is so funny.
That's the guy with the knife dick.
Yes, he was wearing a belt, sort of like a strap-on dildo, except it was a knife.
Yeah.
And he was watching porn with that equipped.
Yeah.
So I don't know what his
He's also
fetish
snorting
is.
like a couple ounces of cocaine.
He had a veritable pile of coke on a table, and he was just taking handfuls of it and just shoving it into his nose and breathing in.
Yeah. That's rough.
Yeah, dude.
That's no good.
And he had a mason jar of that weird dark gray acid on the table, too.
And that's when, after he dispatches through the bloody tactics, the knife dick guy. That's a sentence right there.
Yeah.
He does some coke too. He grabs his
Some.
Yeah, some.
A handful.
Yeah, like a gram in one snort, nothing.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Just a single handful of coke.
Yeah, compared to how
Snorts
much there
it
is. Then dips his little pinky in the fucking gray goo.
Yeah, he takes that acid and has like instantly the movie flashes into like the goriest, weirdest visuals.
Yeah, it was like claymation melting of a dude, like a dude's skeleton made out of clay just being stripped away
just
layer
like
by
sizzling
layer.
flesh like a seltzer water.
Yeah.
Fire.
Yeah.
Like the scene keeps changing. It's like it's just gory shit after it. Dark imagery. And this is all just like what Nick Cage is seeing within a second of touching that acid to his tongue. He's just having these flashes of violence.
Yeah, he seems to kind of like it though.
It's all he has to live for now.
Yeah, fuels the rage. He's swimming in it.
Yeah. Oh, they have an epic quote at the end. I wrote it down.
So yeah, well, he's killed his way through most of the goons and all that shit.
He finally confronts Jeremiah in his weird like pit.
Yeah, the church mine pit.
He's got like this dark gray concrete pit that he does his like meditations in.
I do not like that guy.
No, it's fucking weird. But he's having a breakdown because basically he's being confronted with the man he failed to kill.
Yeah.
And that man is more powerful than him. And he's trying to talk his way out of it.
Unsuccessfully.
So unsuccessfully, like failing every charisma check against Red.
He's rolling ones, dude.
Critical
failure.
He's trying every little flourish in the book that he's got of his like cult leader propaganda.
Oh, for sure.
Talking about how he's God, about how everything led you to this moment
he
to
could
be
save
forgiven.
him. Yeah.
You can find salvation in me. I'm your true salvation. All that shit. And Red is just walking towards him.
Starts squeezing his head.
Dude, what he says to him, he goes, "The psychotic drowns where the mystic swims. You're drowning. I'm swimming." And grabs his head and crushes it, dude.
Between his hands.
Just crushes it.
Squeezing. And when he does, he has like it seemed like an orgasm. It seemed like he came. It seemed like an orgasmic release, to say the least. He's,
major catharsis.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Because nothing's bringing Mandy back.
No.
But at least now everyone who hurt her is dead.
For sure. Definitely.
And they can't hurt anyone else.
Uh-uh.
You know?
So he did a good thing, too, you know?
Yeah. He's like, I am your god now, and crushes his head.
Yeah. Dude, this movie's fucking metal as hell.
Yeah. It's heavy, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just gorgeous.
It is. It's such a weird contrast.
Well directed.
Yeah.
So pretty to look at.
Yeah. Every camera shot is thoughtfully taken. Every single one.
Mm-hmm.
That one of them, of Mandy and Mandy and Red in like the canoe. From
It's
the
so
drone.
good.
So beautiful.
The water rippling and like the way it's catching the light.
Oh.
That is art.
I know. And then contrasted right back to the overhead of the trees. And they're always like slightly, like every few seconds they'll shift a little bit.
Everything is moving and dynamic.
Yeah, and it gives you that acid vibe to an extent.
The lighting is always changing a little bit. Like instead of just lighting the scene with static lights, you can tell like he's got his lighting guys like controlling switches like
for
behind
sure.
the camera.
Or they have like in like handhelds like moving it.
They're like
front
physically moving the lights,
Yeah.
or they're like changing the brightness. They're dimming the lights and brightening them up in the background. It's like the backlighting of the window is like getting brighter.
all acoustically matched somehow as well.
The music.
The drones that would come in with certain pings of light every fucking time, dude. I was like,
It was like a symphony of cinema.
Oh, it was so
Truly like one of the best made movies I've ever seen.
I love this movie. I get, and so I also looking up some bullshit right on the phone about this movie, and to the top review of it on IMDb was really great, but really, really not for everyone. And
True.
I can't emphasize that enough. If you aren't into gore and insane psychedelic thriller horror rides,
You need to have an appreciation for 80s horror genre movies, like
for sure.
as a craft. Like movies like Evil Dead need to be in your repertoire.
yeah, and just be all right, like sitting through that sort of dark aesthetic. Like,
Right.
You know, it's not a comfy movie.
You've got to be able to get in your feelings a little bit and just like ride that wave, which is true of drugs too.
Yeah.
It's like if you're not willing to
Let control go.
sit through a moment
Yeah.
and like feel it and let it pass, you shouldn't be taking mushrooms or acid, and you shouldn't be watching a movie like Mandy.
No.
It's actually kind of a beautiful symmetry the way that works. It's a movie about drug psychosis
Yeah.
and death, and you need to take it carefully. You need to dose it carefully.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, there is definitely quite a few people I wouldn't want to show this to.
For sure. And I wouldn't want to watch it with them.
Oh, that's another side of it. It's
like,
don't watch this with your fucking kids. Okay.
Pick your tripping partners carefully.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I would probably, I don't know. My parents and I could probably watch it together, but I'd probably tell them to watch it by themselves first. It's
First,
just
like, see if you want to watch.
Yeah.
I think my mom would like it. My mom
think
is
so, too.
very into and comfortable with weird art stuff.
Yeah.
She's got just dark paintings and stuff, photographs on her walls.
Yeah.
Like, I think she'd be very comfortable watching something dark like that.
Yeah. But I think we
My
probably
dad
also,
probably wouldn't like it though at
Really?
all. He doesn't like gore.
yeah.
He likes action, but that's different. That's like cartoonized.
Exactly. I mean, this was heavy.
Yeah.
You know?
Like he wakes up in that room and his hand is nailed to the floor.
Oh, yeah.
And he has
Chained
to
up and nailed to the floor.
one hand is chained to a radiator, the other is nailed to a floor. And there's a cult member like with a face mask on that's like wet.
Oh, God. They're always
the wet.
sounds and the... Dude, those fucking biker gangs, the Black Skulls or whatever, they are some of the creepiest, nastiest fuckers I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Just the sounds when they talk is just like, hello.
It reminded me of like Hellraiser.
Yeah,
With like the
very
pins
much
coming
so.
out of his
very
face.
Very much so.
Very Hellraiser, Freddy Krueger, Evil Dead.
And it all looked like practical makeup too.
Oh yeah.
Which is sweet.
That's
Give me that
costume work
shit.
and
Give me
makeup.
that shit.
Yeah.
You have to.
Dude, and the practical lighting choices and the lens choices, like this is really just, it was a mastercraft in terms of just making a movie.
So many good choices were made. And we should take a second to praise this director.
Yeah.
Panos Cosmatos, right?
Or Cosmatonos. Yeah, I think Cosmatos. Cosmatos. Yeah. It sounds like a weird Latin name or something.
Panos
Cosmatonos.
He...
I just reached for the reverb button and made Austin laugh. I won't do it, I promise.
Oh, shit.
Cosmatonos. He's
Beautiful.
awesome, dude. He's only made 2 movies.
That's the crazy thing. This is his second movie. He has made one previous movie that was also a success. We watched the trailer for it just
Beyond
recently.
the Black Rainbow?
Beyond the Black Rainbow.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
It looks trippy
weird.
as fuck.
Also about acid, also kind of culty.
Psychological.
Yeah.
All about that like new wave of enlightenment that came about from taking too many drugs and like finding God directly.
But the dark side of it, and I don't know anything that covers that.
Yeah. So fun little trivia. That's called the left-hand path in Indian philosophy. The right-hand path is like traditional religious practice. And the left-hand path is where you use psychoactives and sex rituals and stuff to find forms of enlightenment yourself directly. Communing with God directly is the idea. And you do it without your community. You just do it alone or like with a tight-knit group.
Jeez.
And the right-hand path is meant to be like slower and safer.
Yeah.
And then the left-hand path is like where you end up with quotes like mystics swim where the psychotic drowns, like people like becoming like crazy mystics, like that's the left-hand path.
That's crazy.
Just fun little knowledge there on the spiritualism of the mystics.
Yeah, man.
There's a lot of that.
I hope none of them were doing that much.
There's a lot of that left-hand path energy in this guy's movies.
Yeah. Yeah. How incredible for a second movie,
Dude.
Like,
I mean, unreal.
How can you know that you want that? Like, that just boggles my mind.
And we didn't find out how long he spent making his first movie, but he spent 10 years writing Mandy. Mm-hmm. So we probably spent something similar coming up with the first one. And there was 6 years between the 2 movies.
Yeah.
And he hasn't come out with another one yet, and it's been another
but it's
6
announced.
years.
It's called like necrosis, I think. Necroxis or something.
Shit.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I know. It looks...
Necronomicon. This guy
shit.
definitely grew up watching Evil Dead.
For sure.
Bound in human flesh. Inked in human blood.
You want to watch that interview?
Yes. It actually will play perfectly into what we were just talking about. It's got Nick Cage and the director Panos and the actor who played Jeremiah.
Yeah.
And they're just discussing what they really appreciated about the movie so much.
Mm-hmm. And the freedom that came with the movie. It's
a real breath of fresh air, this interview. It's just like people talking about art in a way that they really respect.
I know. I like that.
I think Mandy's a lot of different things. On the surface, it's a very straightforward revenge movie. It's sort of like a yin and the yang of Black. It's a companion piece to Black Rainbow, whereas Black Rainbow was like an inhale of all these feelings. Then Mandy's an exhale of them all. So it's much more emotional. It's much more extroverted, and it's got a lot more of me in it.
I saw it from several different angles. I was excited by the kind of fantasy almost aspect of revenge. The idea that it was in 1983 and it just felt like a mysterious world that Panos was going to develop. Having seen Beyond the Black Rainbow, I knew he would do something totally unique.
The character in the script was just so extreme, so out there, such a raging narcissist, and
It's talking about Jeremiah, the cult leader.
what I was impressed by was that Panos didn't just create a villain, he actually tapped into and articulated some things that I've understood through a lot of introspection around the male ego and the heights and the depths and the depravity of it.
In Black Rainbow, in this movie, I'm sort of obsessed with the absurdity and the delusion of the male ego and how it will go to any lengths to like get what it wants, and no matter what the consequences are. And even though I started writing this 10 years ago, I feel like it's taken on a whole new resonance since.
It was one of the best experiences I've had on set.
Me
And
too.
I've made a ton of movies, and it's almost 40 years, but I can tell you, working with Panos and working with Linus and working with Andrea, you know, because Panos is a filmmaker that knows what he wants, it's very relaxing for the performers, because we can feel liberated knowing that we're giving him what he needs, and he's directing us in a way where we can hit the bullseye. There's a lot of filmmakers you work with that don't know what they want, and you lose a lot of time, and it creates a lot of anxiety, and they're fixing things that aren't broken. But with Panos, like you know, we did a lot of oneers, and some of my favorite stuff happens in one shot, you know, because it breathes and it moves, and you have to have confidence to do that, which he has.
There's something going on in film today which I kind of refer to as the tyranny of perfection, which is that on the craftsman level, everything needs to be seen as utterly precise and perfect, or it's seen as failure. And I kind of like rough edges on things, you know, so sometimes I would allow just those to exist, and I find those more beautiful in a way.
It happens when there aren't too many cooks in the kitchen, when you don't have producers from studios, the suits, if you will, breathing down your neck, giving the director notes, giving the actors notes, and not really giving them any faith that they can do this job because they have the vision. When they get in the middle of it, then all the oxygen goes out of the room, and then you're like caving in. You don't feel relaxed. You're confused. There's too many voices, and then you lose the Super 8 feeling. The Super 8 feeling is when you are a child and you are in your backyard and you've got that Super 8 camera and you're making a movie for no other reason than you love the movie you're making. You're not trying to like sell tickets. You're not trying to make dollars. You're not trying to like get an Oscar. You're just making the movie for the love of the movie, and that's the Super 8 feeling.
But you've got to have people who've got real stories to tell. There's a lot of people just want to tell a story and make a movie and be it hip and cool and people are going to like it, and you know, it's got to come from somewhere. And even the process, the fact it's taken Panos this amount of years and this story's been cooking for the time, you feel the consciousness in the piece, and I think that's what an audience feel too. They connect with, you know, the storyteller.
We were lucky in this situation because we had Spectre Vision, who protected us. Yeah, and they protected us, and that's why I stuck with them for so long.
Awesome.
So cool. So a couple things. Spectre Vision, Elijah Wood's indie horror company, unknown to us before this.
Genre-driven psychological thriller and horror movie production company.
On the record,
so cool.
Thank you, Elijah.
Yeah,
Fucking
Elijah Wood, you rock.
So cool. That is exactly what people, specifically actors who love movies and love this craft, who have the money, should be doing.
Yeah.
Make good movies. Make the movies you want to see, not these big blockbuster bullshit shit. You know?
The Hollywood machine is fun at times,
sure,
but overall, it's pretty gross.
Yeah.
And it's pretty diminutive to the art form of what we like about filmmaking.
Yeah, I mean, just so much money gets poured into these films that it becomes just a business and not about what they're making.
And you strip everything down to the lowest common denominator to try to sell to the broadest market.
Check the last 20 fucking Marvel movies, dude. It's like, there's been like 3 decent ones.
So formulaic. Even when they're good, they're just not that good.
No, it's like okay. It's like, wow, I was entertained kind of watching that.
Yes, there's nothing fresh, unique.
No, I'm not watching not watching Doctor Strange multiverse, okay, and then thinking anything complex. Okay, I'm just, Mandy.
Like, all the things that we said about Mandy, you could never say that about any of that, about
anything.
The Rock.
Yeah.
Or like Face Off.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even
just
those big blockbusters, nothing.
Yeah, nothing like that. You need independence.
Yeah.
You need a creative vision You need strength of character, confidence, like he said, to execute these ideas and to have a unique fingerprint.
Especially if it's so quirky, like stuff like this, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the balls that you have to like walk in.
Yeah.
Be like, man, I'm gonna make this movie, and 35% of it's just gonna be red.
Yeah, dude, we're just gonna make this whole scene magenta.
Yeah, this whole fucking 7-minute scene is magenta.
All magenta.
And it's perfect because of that.
It's so haunting and beautiful.
We almost forgot about Cheddar Goblin.
Holy shit. So we almost busted up laughing during this interview we just played because Nick Cage says there's too many cooks in the kitchen sometimes. And
yeah,
where do I even start? Okay. If you've ever watched Adult Swim, you know they had some weird stuff on late at night, and they made all these fake commercials to put between their own shows.
Yeah, infomercials.
Yeah. One of them is called Too Many Cooks. It's like an 11-minute long intro to a fake sitcom. Then the intro just never ends. And it just keeps, too many cooks in the kitchen. And it just keeps going. And it's like introducing more and more characters. Coat rack. Too Many Cooks is like legendary in the absurdist comedy
for sure
circles. Like
huge on YouTube like 7 to 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Huge.
For the people that are steeped in the Tim and Eric tradition, in the Eric Andre tradition.
Yeah, people watch it off the air. You know what it is.
You know what it is. It's weird, absurd, dark humor. And the guy who made that made a commercial that they put on the TV that's playing in the cabin in this movie.
Yeah.
Cheddar Goblin.
Directly after he frees himself from the barbed wire. So he just watched Mandy die, and he's covered in fucking his own blood.
And vodka.
And he walks out of the living room, and on the screen of the TV is Cheddar Goblin. This goblin-looking creature who like comes and he's like hanging over these kids, and he's like, no mac and cheese is better than the cheese from the mac and cheese goblin, and then pukes fucking mac and cheese all over these kids.
It's just this green goblin throwing up cheese all over
it's
kids.
It's better cheddar, so better get goblin.
No cheese is better than the cheddar goblin. And then all of a sudden, it goes from this like funny, quirky thing to all of a sudden the camera zooms in, and it's just this long...
He emerges out of the mac and cheese.
Creepy shot of this goblin emerging from cheese, and he's just staring into the camera. Yeah. And it holds there for a second.
And then that's it.
And then, it's just like static after that.
Yeah, that's the whole fucking scene.
It's just Cheddar Goblin, man. Ooh. I should play it, huh?
Probably. I actually, it apparently went very viral after this movie came out.
Should have.
Dude, the way Panos was moving his hands looks like he did a lot of acid.
He's perma-fried, bro.
Dude, I've seen that. I know that. I've seen people who move their hands like that. That shit is that steady, like...
Who ate all the macaroni and cheese? Look, Cheddar Goblin!
Oh my god.
Cheddar Goblin, did you eat all the macaroni and cheese?
Nothing's better than cheddar.
Cheddar Goblin! Cheddar Goblin!
Oh my god.
Cheddar Goblin by Devane has 60% more cheese than the next leading brand. Kids and goblins agree. Cheddar Goblin tastes the best. That's why Cheddar Goblin was rated #1 3 years in a row.
Ugh.
Cheddar Goblin by Devane. It's goblin good.
It's goblin good.
Holy shit, dude.
Oh.
It's so deranged. It's so deranged.
I don't even know what to say about that.
There's just nothing to say. It's just an experience.
Yeah,
you
really
just have
is.
to go watch that on YouTube.
You guys need to watch Mandy, okay?
Yeah.
If you didn't watch Mandy before the podcast, which you probably should have done, you should go watch Mandy.
Yeah. I mean, it's a work of art.
Mm-hmm.
It's an impression to be felt.
It is. There's so many more. It's a very emotion-based and driven movie, you know?
Yeah.
He kind of mentioned it. It's like, you know, you aren't really supposed to care. I mean, you're supposed to feel with the plot a little bit, but it's not the main story. It's just the expressing of these insane emotions from every character. You know?
Yeah, and the exploration of the ego and delusion that drugs can create.
Yeah.
It really does a lot of that. Like, anyone who's taken acid before and you've just like sat alone for a second and just like been with your thoughts, you'll like oscillate between thinking you're God and thinking you're nothing. You're just like a dust speck. Time is infinite. It's now.
Yeah,
I'm
especially if you're in, like,
forever. These thoughts are like deranged, but they're also like sort of real. Like, there's a sort of like pseudo philosophy that comes about when you take too much psychedelic drugs.
For sure.
And people can get lost in that false reality, in the like delusions that it creates.
Yeah.
And this movie is a really fun exploration of where that can go in terms of like the different cult members and stuff.
Absolutely.
And then it's just revenge. It's just a classic like horror revenge action movie. Just like gore, destruction, guitars, heavy metal.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like fun if you like rock and roll and horror movies.
Yeah, and just like absurdism in general to an extent.
Yeah.
You've done a few psychedelics. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, if you don't like any of the things that I just listed, like, this movie's just not going to do it for you.
No, and that's so totally fine though too. You know, this movie. That's why that's part of the beauty of this movie getting made. It will not be for everyone, and that's so fine.
That's actually the point.
Yeah, 100%.
That's like the whole point. Like with the studio philosophy, where you're going for the the lowest common denominator. You want to please everybody with these Marvel movies or whatever.
Yeah,
you lose individualism, you lose personality,
character of it, man.
Yeah, so a movie like Mandy, it's specifically not for everybody. It's actually like really only for like 5 people, like the guys who made it.
Yeah,
if we like it, that's our benefit. But it was not made for us with us in mind. It was not made to sell us tickets, like Nick Cage said. Like, they have a Super 8 feeling.
Yeah,
they just want to do this.
Yeah, and they made this shit. They put it out in the world. If you want to go see that and experience that, go for it.
I think you should.
Yeah, 100%. Especially if you're into any of that sort of darker aspects of life sort of stuff. You know, if you're into creepy shit, if you want to see some weird Nick Cage caginess. We didn't talk about the Cage level.
Or the hairline.
Yeah, all right.
Good God.
Jesus. Well, I thought we were fucking professionals.
We just got swept up in the moment.
It's the Mandy. It's the
Mandela
Mandy
effect.
bug. Oh, that's
It's a different podcast.
Oh man. Thick
hair.
Thick hair. Receded, but
still
thick.
has the widow's peaks, but the top is fluffed.
He looks
full.
Appropriately aged.
Yeah, he's got a beard now.
I like it.
He's in his 50s, I think.
Yeah, I'd guess.
It's my guess.
Yeah, 48 to 53, yeah. Good 5 years.
Certainly not 60, but
absolutely not.
Certainly not 30.
No, rough 30 years, my guy.
Yeah. He's a little grizzled, a little aged, a little flabby. Just that classic sort of softening around the edges that comes with time.
But clearly still a big dude. Like he was definitely fit at some point in this character's life.
Right.
For sure.
Intimidating posture. Like, he still looks like the kind of guy that you wouldn't want to fight in a bar.
No, he holds himself very casually,
but he's
steadily.
just, salt and pepper beard, little pudgy.
Cage is a hard one to rate on this, man. The level's weird because it's...
there's barely any dialogue.
Yeah.
When he does have dialogue, the context is so absurd that he could almost say anything and it wouldn't feel cagey.
I know. It all has this level of caginess that he brings naturally, but honestly, this is one of the least cagey movies I think we've seen.
The only moment maybe that was a little cagey is like
the
when
smile.
Well, the smile and when he's drinking all the vodka, decompressing.
Yeah.
He does this whole thing where he like screams. He's like, ah, ah,
It's true.
ah,
But that's
ah, 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 and he keeps going. He does that like 12 times.
It does, but somehow it feels less cagey than...
Because it feels appropriate.
It does.
It's
I
like
guess that's
the appropriate response.
Yeah, that must be the reason.
Usually caginess is defined by it being in the wrong context, but he's doing it anyways.
Yeah.
In this context, like all that shit just works.
Yeah.
Like that's how you should feel.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, we didn't mention either. This it just so happened that his wife of 14 years left him very
right before filming.
Right before filming.
In real life, Nicolas Cage's wife divorced him like right before they made this movie.
Yeah, so
and he said he channeled that energy into the sort of like loss and pain that his character is feeling for Mandy.
Yeah, you can feel it.
Which is, I mean, you don't want to say it's lucky.
No.
But it's like crazy coincidence that manifested itself into a beautiful piece of art.
Yeah, just a really stellar movie. Yeah, man. That's Mandy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go see it, people.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to say.
I'm out of nuts and bolts. That was a fucking perfect, flawless movie. I wouldn't change a thing. I'm gonna watch it again. I'm gonna get other people to watch it.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm officially like Team Mandy, like proselytizing for more views.
For sure.
It's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
If you like the genre that it is.
Yeah.
It's a 3 out of 10 if you don't like gore and heavy metal.
Yeah, if you weren't
horror,
interested in those topics, you just wouldn't have a good time watching this.
It's a bad movie for you if that's something that you hate.
Yeah. But luckily next week we're watching Pig. Pig.
Let's go.
Yeah. Little truffle hunter action, you know. Yeah. Cool, man. Not the Reaper.
seams, visions twisted, acid flood, seeking retribution's blood. His heart beats wild in evening glow, echoes of her voice still flow, past and present all enmeshed. Nicholas fights till all are crushed. Nicolas.